So I had a quick look down. Melody Maker, they've got a few new things. It's really next year's news that they're publicising here. Tears for Fears, second album coming up. Malcolm McLaren has got a... Malcolm McLaren. There you go. I shouldn't have gone to that important business meeting this afternoon. But he's got a mini LP coming up. Pretenders, big tour. Smiths, who we were just listening to, they're a wonderful group. Who saw them first? But they got a British tour line. And, of course, you know they're also doing a single with Sandy Shaw. You did know that, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did.
Yeah, Sandy and me are pretty close as well. Status Quo will possibly release a single in the new year, it says in the Melody Maker. That's news. I mean, they bring one out about every week, as it is. Of course, if they said Status Quo will not release a single, that'd be really news. A bit of sort of news, more putting the lid on a clank, you know, on the end of the pot sort of thing, is a piece but about Pete Townsend saying The Who are definitely not going to be doing anything else. You know, when he says it, he says it. And it quotes him as saying, a spokesman says, he's in a musical cul-de-sac and he's finally reached the sad decision that there was absolutely nothing he could do to resolve it. You know, the rest of the band may be disappointed, but what can he do? You know, what can he do indeed? Well, what can we do? We can always listen to the radio. Of course we can. Look down Record Mirror. They've got a very comprehensive television and radio guide, Christmas Wrapping, man. That turns out to be by the religious department. And Malcolm Muggeridge will be talking to people like Nick Beggs and Cliff Richard. Well, there you go. But we've also got Paul Young's concert, of course, the old grey whistle test.
Yes.
Not, you know the way we do these things. It's this simulcast. So Paul Young, as I say, I didn't... If you remember, we talked about him earlier in the year, and I like the bloke a lot, and I like the music. It didn't quite come across to me at that stage, at the start of that tour, and there was something as if he wanted to be in a club and not a big room, but we'll see. Television, radio, we'll see how it comes off. And that's on the Saturday night there, the 24th. On Sunday, the 25th, this is something you must be in. It says, Mike Reed's Christmas dinner. In this hideous concept, Mike and all the other Radio 1 DJs have a wacky Christmas lunch together. Of course, it's already happened, and inflict their humour on the nation. Well, it has already happened, because there is a photograph in one of the other papers of all the disc jockeys smiling and pointing at each other the way they do, going, hey, wow, oh, and opening their eyes and their hands and having a bit of turkey. Are you there?
I am not there this year, unfortunately. Well, I had something else to do. I had an important business meeting.
Well, perhaps we shan't be in so much of you in the new year. See what's in your cracker, my goodness. But there's little bits of gossip. This actually was in one of the other papers a week before. You know, you just pick out little bits, as it were, like the sixpences in the Christmas pudding, you know. The Duran boys, of course, get in there, and John Taylor, apparently declined in the Savoy Hotel to give a kiss on the cheek to a 14-year-old girl, Justine Dyer from Bermondsey. Give her a kiss, you miserable sod, shouted Geoff Boycott, who happened to be standing nearby in a Santa Claus outfit. Don't ask me, how do these people live at the top? And then also Andy Taylor of Duran Duran has warned that if any intruder tries to enter his Shropshire retreat at Christmas, I'll get out my big gun and shoot them. Now, what's that going to mean on Christmas Eve? We're going to have ho, 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 and have you been good, little boy, this... sort of, rather than ho, ho, ho this year. Guys who've been around and must be obviously very bemused to see themselves yet again doing interviews again. The old Slade lads, nice bunch of boys. Jim from the Slade, he says, I suppose, he says, in a way, he says, Slade has become an institution, you know. He says, a bloke in a car wound down his window the other day just to say hello. Well, we know you've not been around for some time, Jim, but that's the easiest way, because if you leave the window up, it tends to come out like that. Then he should be in an institution, never been an institution. Tracy Ullman is everywhere. Aren't you a little bit sick of those, you know? I mean, she's a nice enough girl when I always spoke to her, she's nice enough. But, you know, that stage school type of girl, that point a camera at it, you know, open the fridge, ta-da, she goes in, the light hits her, and tap, dancing away, and you think, oh, please, Tracy, stop it, silly girl. But, I mean, photographs of her in all the pictures going, oh, cookie, voodoo, you know, and you think, oh, no. But here she's been interviewed yet again, you know, and it says here, she says straight away, as far as I know, there's only been one other person, known mainly for comedy, who had a hit record with a straight song, and that's Ken Dodd, boasts Tracy. Now, I tell you what she did, she was in Chris Lycett's office. I'm a bit involved in this. She was in Chris Lycett's office for a bank holiday special, and I walked in, I said, oh, hello, Tracy, and I shake hands, and I said, it's done gone very well, hasn't it, that, the first record? You know,
Breakaway.
Yeah, and I said, this has gone really well, I'm very glad to see it go well. And so she says, yes, she says, I'm the only person who has ever had a hit and come out of comedy and had a hit. And I thought, that's not right at all. But you don't like to... But then I thought, no, I've got to tell her. So I said, well, obviously, there must be a few more. I mean, like, Ken Dodd had Tears for So Many Years going for years. It's one of the biggest songs also. And she's, a bit grumpy. And then I saw her interviewed on telly, and she said, there's only 2 people ever gone out. But now she's saying she's loaded. And then I thought, well, there's things like the fastest milkman in the West, you know, Benny Hill, Ernie, Peter Sellers, a lot of comedy
Monty Python people.
A lot of people had records, you know. But now she's saying the only person who had a hit record with a straight song who came out of comedy. But then you think, what about 2 little boys, you know, by Rolf Harris? But then I also thought that depends on whether you see 2 little boys as a straight song or Rolf Harris as out of comedy. Still, let's move on. Thinking of you next year, don't forget,
Why?
I do call, I've told you this and I've seen him and he says he'll do it for you because I want to help his career. Billy Bragg, do get him on the programme. I've told you, I know you laugh now, but you won't regret it. And it says here, there's a review, he's still doing gigs, he's a nice guy, he's still doing support work at Herne Hill here. It says, Billy Bragg is not your archetypal angry young man, sounds and so on. But he is angry, yes, as most right-minded people are sometimes. And it goes on, it says, he strikes me as being what a lot of folk thought Paul Weller would have turned out to be after the Jam. But as you know, he's different now. That's what Sounds says, not me, but Billy is that sort of, you know, amiable, good chap. And Billy's interviewed as well in Sounds here. And he says his idea of hints for being on the road, because he's just really finding out what life's like on the road. And he says, underwear is very important. He says the ratio of days on the road to underpants should be 1 to 1. And he says 3 to 1, I assume it means 3 days to 1 pair of underpants, is the minimum accepted by the Musicians' Union. And at anything above 7 to 1, you must be a member of King Kurt. Not too sure. I don't get it. But I would have thought if you're really involved with King Kurt, not so much 7 pairs of underpants to 1 day, I would have thought really could easily be. What are you doing there? Turn back to me.
No, I just got something on the phone. Sorry, just
Yeah,
hello?
Put it down.
Yes?
Yes,
fine.
It's Billy Bragg.
Billy Bragg is, at this moment, recording a new session for this
booked
show.
for you at last. You've taken my advice. Thank goodness. But let's get back to this. Billy here is saying, you know, he said, if the 7 pairs of... 7... No, you've made a mess of it. 7 days to 1 pair of underpants, you must be a member of King Kurt. But from what I've read about King Kurt, really, it's more likely to be 7 pairs of underpants to 1 day. The excitement they get up to. Good Lord. Billy has also written in Record Mirror a Christmas song. He's written a Christmas song, and part of it's always very well written. Part of it goes, my backing band are all Scousers who wear really interesting trousers. Now, I happen to know it goes like that, because I saw Billy this afternoon. I said, is there a tune to this song? And he said, you make up your own tune. So I have done. And that's it. Don't write in and say, that's nothing like Billy Bragg. I have permission. Who else is it? Of course. Hello, he's here again.
Who?
Who did we get last week in all the pictures? Hi there, I'm good old boy standing there.
ZZ.
Yeah, from ZZ Top, old Billy Gibbons here. Yeah! I'm sitting there rocking here with my beard, my scarf, and getting everybody else's publicity photographs. Woo! There he is again, Record Mirror's in here with Marilyn. Doesn't say anything about Def Leppard, whose gig it was they had to pay. And he stood there, I'm sitting in the corner getting free drinks, he had my photograph taken. And then Marilyn, of course, gets it everywhere. You turn to Smash Hits, and Marilyn is doing one of these personal files. You know, talk about the opposite of being a good old boy. Who can say, but, you know, there's old Marilyn there. I mean, for a start, they ask him all these strange things. They say, Smash Hits say, what have you got in your pockets? And he replies, not a sausage. Well, we didn't say it was a sausage. We said, what have you got in your pockets? Still, we'll pass on to the next one. They get into really up-to-date stuff. Have you read George Orwell's 1984? No, he says, but I once saw a film called The Class of 84, though, which is close. That's actually it is. Then they also say, who would you like to be stuck in a lift with? And Marilyn says, Sylvester Stallone. That'd be quite good. Oh, he says, I wonder what we'd talk about. Well, I imagine Sylvester Stallone would probably be saying, where is the queue on this lift? Where is the emergency? No, actually, I like Marilyn. I think he's one of those great stars of our times. And I'm glad to say he likes doing Round Table, because he voted it in the poll there in Smash Hits that we were talking about just now, that before we were listening to the Smiths. You get a lot of mention from stars about David Jensen being their favourite radio programme, but Marilyn says Round Table, because he had quite a good time then. We had to smuggle him out the back door. That's what happens at this time of the year, though, isn't it? Let's get this wound up, because I've got other things to go to. Smash Hits are having their poll. This is the time of year when they've got to fill up, and there's no news, as we were saying before, so they say, best of this of the year. Yeah. Your hints for the year, Christmas tips, blah, blah, blah. Smash Hits readers' poll has come out. I mean, it's a bit Smash Hitsy, obviously, and you have a look and you think, hello, there's a picture of Reedy with his guitar, Mike Reed. Or Mom. There he is, twanging away on his guitar, sort of thing. And it says, number 1. I must say, when I think of Mike Reid and his guitar, I usually think more number 2, if you'll pardon the expression. But turns out, of course, it's Top of the Pops is the #1 television programme with a picture of Reedy, but also Reedy's got the radio thing. But you've come 4th, which is quite good. Game Boy, Canadian boy, got up and finished 4th. Good. Pity you tripped over going in the last band. You moved to the Melody Maker, and they do the Talk Awards, which clearly they've made up. Chap of the Year. I was Chap of the Week, the very first one.
I remember.
Can't you remember? We
yes,
got
I
that.
did.
Nick Haywood, of all people, for reasons I won't go into. Alf, Alison, she's Chapess of the Year, they give her. But then you move down to, Ligger of the Year. Jenny Bellstar. It says, any event Jenny Bellstar will turn up at. She says she's got a glass in one hand.
And Mike Hawkes in the other.
She said, sport the joke.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, it says here she's got a cube of cheese in the other, which is no way to speak about our producer Mike Hawkes. But then, OK, thanks very much, I'll remember you.
Sorry.
Geriatrics of the Year. And Geriatrics of the Year are flying pickets, and they say, that you don't have to be young to make it. It says, all this, of course, he says, is merely sort of an apology for the fact that the majority of the Melody Maker staff are over 55 and drink like fish. But some of the other Geriatrics of the Year, the older good guys, are Elton, Tina Turner, Lemmy from Motorhead, and John Peel. Oh, Peel is in there. He won't be too pleased about that. Wally of the Year turns out to be Steve Taylor. Oh, Steve, he's not too bad. I mean, I was at a Christmas party with him about 2 years ago, some show business event, before he became a television personality, as we laughingly call him, Television Wally, and he gave me a lift to the Tube in his car, so probably wouldn't do that, run me over. But the runners-up are John Blake of The Sun, and then it says Mike Reid, and in fact all the Radio 1 DJs, except Peel, Jensen, Nightingale and Long. Just shows you. I nearly left you out of that.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I knew you were. On we go, of course. Some of them people do even personal awards. Old Gary Crowley, still riding away in Record Mirror, and he's got all his lists and so on. For instance, he's got people who are on the way up. The first 2 are Roddy Frame. Roddy Frame, who's he? Aztec Camera?
Aztec Camera, he's a good old boy.
He's a good old boy on his camera there. Wee-ha! The other side of the Aztec Camera, and Tony Blackburn's number 2 of a guy who's going to come up this year, and it wouldn't surprise me. Stop clock's right twice a day. Tony's year could be coming round again. People are going out to Simon Le Bon and Terry Wogan, but then he's got a list. Words that can be used this year are totally crucial. That's a word you can use, but you must not use. The top of his list of words not to use is crucial. And then he has the cheek, when he's talking about words that are out, man, this year, right at the bottom, he wishes everybody, Merry Crimble, everybody. Oh, come on, Merry Crimble. If he's going to start saying that, I'll wish him the condiments of the season and all that sort of thing. Melody Maker, also, it's quite useful, Melody Maker, this week, I must say, because they've got quite a lot of, reading matter. There are a lot of well-known personalities who have their lists. Mm-hmm. Of their tracks of my year, it's called, and their favourite tracks. A lot of well-known stars, and it's interesting to see what they've picked. Then I turn the page here. Kid Jensen. Did you see that?
Nice hairstyle, eh?
Yes. The Smiths again. Who saw them first? New Order. Oh, well, yes, Mark of the Man. But I think, we didn't want the Peel show, we had New Order first. Prefab Sprout, we played that first. Elvis.
You did not.
We did.
You didn't.
Orange Juice, we had them first. Oh, Armoury Show, you did number 9. You did get that first. Oh. Castles in Spain, that's Kid, everybody at home, that's Kid's 9th favourite track of the year. The Armoury Show doing Castles in Spain. How does that go?
It's kind of a moody number. We had it in session earlier this week. Would you like me to do a little rendition?
Yeah.
I haven't got my trumpet here.
No, okay, that's 1 to me, that. 15 all. Ooh, fancy jumping in on my joke about Mike Hawkes. Anyway, as I say, come on, let's wind up. I've got a party to go to. Turn the pages, it's full of lists. For instance, hangovers. They even do what stars think, not about records, anything. Hangovers they ask them about. I mean, Sarah from Banana Rommet, she says she's never had one. Oh, well, Annabelle Lamb, I've never had a hangover. She says, you can always tell you're all right if you wake up with the same person you went to bed with. Oh, how groovy. Oh. Tracy, of course, good old Tracy. She said, I've never had a hangover, but I'm sure if you bought me a few drinks, I would. I bet she would, yes. I've often thought of that of Tracy, buy her a few drinks and she would. But my cure for let me add my own cure for a hangover, as nobody gives me a call. My favourite cure for a hangover,
yes,
is you start off, you take the juice of 4 pints of lager. Anyway, let's carry on. Also, in Record Mirror, the stars, of course, are asked for their presents. Dennis Greaves of The Truth says, the most embarrassing present I got was a Deep Purple album from one of my aunts, who thought I liked music. Which I did. I'm still fortunate. And Lucy of A Craze, she says, a pair of Janet Reagan knickers. Just imagine having £100 wrapped around your bottom. Actually, I do have £100 wrapped around my body, but I am going to go to Weight Watchers and get rid of it this year, OK? There's no question of that. Finally, you turn the pages here. Sounds have got one of these, you know, like Private Eye, these spoofs of, you know, the pages of gifts that are always published in most magazines at this time.
Sure.
And they do some spoofs from the Wastrels Gift Fair, fair spelled F-A-Y-R-E, or sort of gifts for Wallies, really. Now, here's them, the Wallomo dress. You can get, and it says it looks exactly like the real thing. But a stick-on Wallomo dress gives you the look of Boy George and Marilyn without unseemly clothes changes. And reverts to a pair of golfing trousers at the slightest suspicion of a Fleet Street presence. That's quite good. And then this is one that won't be so much for you, but for me. The Wattimo clip-on Mohican, for people who want to go punk. I like a clip-on Mohican. This is really for you, though. The cheat ears. The latest is, I said, why spend good money going to gigs and getting deafened when there are a pair of Norwegian pioneered Strappo ears? You can go and hear exactly nothing. Strappo ears have exactly the same effect as normal earplugs, but are undetectable to the naked eye. And there's a photograph of a boy with big ears sticking out. So we can get these false ears and you ram them down your ears. And it's really tremendous because it says, for just £77.77, you can stop being a laughingstock and start really enjoying music by SPK. Now, here's one for me, though. This is the stick-on beer gut. Computer-designed 12-stone attachable beer gut, and for just £37.50, says, you too could appear to have a real man's gut without any of the serious drinking normally entailed. Well, I did try one of those, but I just kept seeing too tight. I don't know what's wrong with it. Finally, look, what do we do at the start of the pop press every week?
The lists. You didn't do the lists.
We didn't do the sound silly charts, and I left it deliberately to the end there because their silly chart this week is the worst things about Christmas. Number one, top of that, is Christmas Top of the Pop special. Sorry, because you'll be on it.
No, I'm not.
Aren't you?
No, the Rhythm Pals are doing Top of the Pop. Well, they did Top of the Pops tonight.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course, that's why you won't be on. That's why you're not even here. No wonder you look... I forgot I was working you with my foot. Good Lord.
I am here. I am. Honestly.
Yes, like you're in Cardiff, I know. Number two, oh, the Queen's speech. Number three, having to kiss elderly relatives. And then it gets right down to number 8, and it says, getting revolting green and pink striped ties that you have to pretend you like. And then the best things about Christmas, Port and Stilton, mince pies. But number 3... giving someone you hate a green and pink striped tie, which they then have to pretend to like. Well, that's it, except... I haven't given you my present, have I?
No, this is true, actually. What have you got for me here?
Here it is, let me undo it.
Nice.
It's a really attractive...
Can I see... It's a blue and pink striped tie.
It's a green and pink striped tie, but it just looks blue in the light. It took me a lot of time to find this. Play the music!
Thanks a lot, John. Really, thank you.
It's party time!
Put that tie on and it's party time. Are you going to be back next week?
Oh, I suppose I shall have to look in.
Well, that was Quando Quango, and that was Love Tempo. Do you like that?
Yeah, it's great.
Actually, I think the tie suits you better.
Actually, we weren't really listening because we were looking at the Smash Hits poll to see if we feature anything. It's not the poll so much as Celebrity Squares. They've got this feature with well-known people who pick their favourite singer, their favourite TV radio programme. I don't see a lot for the Peel show here.
Well, let's see. Now, whose music will I be playing next year? Definitely Aztec Camera. Thank you to Roddy Frame. No, Glenn Gregory. I'm sorry, Heaven 17 won't be getting much airplay perhaps next week. What about Paul Weller who's gone?
Steve Strange.
Steve Strange definitely in next year's
he
playlist.
picked you, but then he drinks.
And Judy from the Bell Stars. Yeah.
Oh, free drinks there, I expect, as well. Lim Hall doesn't pick us.
No. What about the guy from King Kurt? Has he got you down there?
Oh, King Kurt, who's he got? He's got the Radio 4 News. He's got the Radio 4 News, that's the sort of thing. That's really great. They're like any of you, really.
Listen, there he goes. Well, no more King Kurt either on this programme. You see, we pay attention to these things, and we are very sensitive people, let me tell you. Don't forget, New Order and a concert, an hour-long coming up after the news. Before the news, this is Carmel. The drum is everything. Right.